So, Jan, this is kind of a special week for us. It's our 20th anniversary year and our 20th episode of the Rusty and Jan Show.
Well, they say hindsight is 2020, and looking back on 2020, I feel hopeful about the future.
I do too, especially about education. Our theme this week is education, and we'll have an interview with a retired educator and inspired Richard Hunt.
We'll also tell you about all the happenings in our music community and hear from George at Melilani.
And our song of the week is by Steve Simon, as selected from our weekly open mic.
So if you're ready, let's get started with the Rusty and Jan Show.
When the world comes crashing down on us, they're always there, and they're always happy company because they care. Oh yes, they care. And when you need to take out pain, well, no one else will do. Dial the phone or go on Zoom. Thank God there are friends like you. I said, thank God there are friends like you.
Our song of the week is by Steve Simon.
It's called Magic Ball.
I wrote this 10 years ago. It was about my daughter's wedding. You know, everybody gets dressed up and it's a magical time and you meet the other family and dance and eat those delicious hors d'oeuvres. This is called a magic ball. Are you going to Magic Ball? I said, are you going to that Magic Ball? Lots of people, they say they know you, show you good time there. They may hold you to plenty of dancing, some romancing, and can you make it? Gee, I hope to. Are you going to the Magic Ball? And are you really in the midst of it all? Are you going to the Magic Ball? And are you really in the mix for it all? There's lots of people, they say they love you, show you a good time there. They might hug you, there's plenty of dancing, some romancing, and can you make it? Gee, I hope to. Are you going to the Magic Ball? I said, are you going to the Magic Ball? Thank you.
And now it's time for Going Out with Rusty and Jan. Welcome to Going Out with Rusty and Jan. We have an exciting lineup of guests for the upcoming weeks on the Rusty and Jan Show. On June 21st, we'll hear from Marianne Halliday, and on June 28th, we'll talk with Kathy Quinn. And then on July 5th, we'll feature one of our new friends from Massachusetts, Jay Singing Spirit Cunningham.
Melilani Cafe is continuing to have outdoor performances, so make sure you support the artists and have some of Georgia's yummy Greek food. Here are some upcoming shows. Saturday, June 19th from 2 to 5 will feature our good friend Ted Jordan Trio. And then on Sunday, June 20th, Paul Woznicki will take the stage from 2 to 4:30. Please contact Jan if you are interested in any scheduling of any show at Melilani.
Our weekly hybrid open mic at Melilani has been going strong. It will continue to take place outdoors in the garden at the plant shop next to Melilani every Thursday from 6 to 9:30. For now, we will continue online signups every Wednesday at 5 p.m. on Melilani Open Micer group page on Facebook.
And keep in mind that there's a couple open slots if you want to come over to Melilani. We save 2 slots every week for walk-in, so keep that in mind if you're in the area.
Absolutely.
And here are the festivals that we are aware of. Falcon Ridge Folk Festival will have a one-day outdoor hybrid event on July 31st in Goshen, Connecticut. More details to come as we receive them.
The Philadelphia Folk Festival will be a hybrid event this year, and it will take place on August 21st and 22nd. It'll feature live concerts at the Spring Mountain Ski area with a maximum of 1,000 audience members. There will be no in-person camping, but they will instead offer virtual campsites like they did last year. For more details, visit www.pfs.org.
Yeah, we had a great time with our virtual campsite last year. You know, I know a lot of people are frustrated because Folk Fest isn't going to be what they envisioned it or remember it to be, but it could be a really special event, and you don't want to miss it because no matter what, this year is going to be different, and you don't want to miss out on that.
And remember, supporting the Folk Fest this year, even though it's not what you expected, will help to ensure that it comes back next year at the Old Pool Farm.
Exactly. So go to pfs.org and do what you can to be a hand, and we'll pull all this together. So, now, X-Fest will take place in person at the Country Creek Winery on September 17th and 18th. We'll be there.
We're planning an event this fall to film scenes for the completion of a video for Rusty's song Pop's Train. This will tentatively take place on September 25th, and we're envisioning a picnic-style event, including jamming and other family-friendly activities. We really hope you'll join us and possibly even take part in some of the filming. More details to come.
Yeah, if you can be in period dress, if you can mark your calendars for September 25th, it's a special day for me, and I'd like to share it with you. PFS Fall Fling will happen in person October 1st through 3rd with limited attendance at Green Lane, Pennsylvania.
And now it's time to see what George is cooking up at Melilani Cafe this week. It's time for
George's Corner!
Hey everybody, and welcome to George's Corner. I'd like to thank Rusty and Jan for having me on the show this week. We had wonderful music on Saturday and Sunday. We had Rusty and Jan and Flute 66. They played on Sunday, and then on Saturday we had Peter Taney, and it was great music on Saturday and Sunday. And then Thursday we had open mic. This weekend we have music on Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we've been very busy, so keep calling in or online ordering. Thank you so much. The musicians have really taken me, helped me to get through the COVID. Your support really did help Mal Lenny, so that's why we're going to continue to do music for the rest of our lives. Thank you. Bye.
And now it's time for Head to Head with Rusty and Jan. So, Jan, you're an educator. How effective were your education interventions during the pandemic?
It was definitely challenging. I gave music lessons on Zoom, and it certainly presented its own set of challenges. It was awkward at first, but eventually it got easier for us.
Yeah, I mean, look at us today. Look at what we're doing virtually. It's a year ago, boy, we were freaked. We really were.
Yep.
So I can't even imagine what it was like for public school teachers and other educators in general.
And it made us realize the importance of things you take for granted that are suddenly snatched away.
Absolutely. A lot of things got snatched away last year.
Absolutely.
While that was all difficult, education in America has had its critics long before the pandemic.
It's often maintained by the commitment of teachers who love education.
It seemed like the future of education is all about to change as schools reopen.
A lot will depend on passing an infrastructure bill that includes access to the internet for all income levels.
That's right. We were really fortunate to have an educator with firsthand experience in the teaching process as our guest this week.
We found our discussion with Richard Hunt to be very insightful and educational.
This is how the interview went. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here's a guy. I've known him for many years, perhaps even before Jan. I don't really know, but we've been involved in local music, songwriting events, PASA most specifically. And he shows up in Melalani religiously. It's just one of our best supporters of what we do. And I'm so happy to have my good friend. No, what was it? Richard Hunt. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty well. Doing pretty well. It's a little hard to see you without the beard, but
I guess. I know.
Yeah, you're the first person seeing him actually with it.
Well, you know, whenever things go along and people get used to seeing me a certain way, I got to shake it up. You know, it's I'm getting old and people don't see me as clearly as they used to.
well, you could always dye your hair red.
I tried that for about 30 years.
Yeah, my mom did that for
Yeah.
about 25. She finally gave up. Turned out
Yeah.
to be really nice light gray.
Oh, I have beautiful white hair. It's just the color is the only problem I have with it. And then I still have some. I mean, that's a bonus, you know.
Tell me about
But-
it.
I know.
Yeah, life is a matter of your hair getting thinner and your waist getting thicker.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Yikes.
Yikes. Anyhow, you have a very unique and historic style of playing. Your sources, you draw on mountain music, then the like. And why do you go to that type of music? What is it about that type of music?
I did not grow up around music. It was occasionally on the radio. I remember hearing the Kingston Trio's Tom Dooley when I was a kid. There were probably other songs, but that's the one that I remember. But at around the age of 9, I wanted a guitar because my hero, Roy Rogers, played guitar. And I was told no because there is absolutely no musical talent in this family.
Oh, no.
To this day, I am the only one who plays any instruments or has any interest in it. Long story long. My first year of college, my roommate had a guitar. And he taught me the only real lessons I ever got on guitar. He taught me how to tune a guitar to itself in the days before tuners.
Mhm.
He showed me how to make a chord. I think the D chord was my first one, but I'm not sure.
Wow.
And he taught me how to read a chord diagram.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of a jam session in the dorm one night, and I'm trying to play, and I was singing, and I almost always sing the first couple notes off key. Just takes me a while to get into the thing. They stopped and said, "You can't sing worth a damn." Or I don't think that
jeez.
was the phrasing, but once again, no talent. But I did buy a guitar, a Harmony guitar, the old the mahogany version. I don't know what happened to it, and fooled around with it. But I think I was in graduate school when I first started playing seriously, and that would be 1995,
Okay.
96.
Yeah.
So I haven't been really playing all that long. I've been fooling around. What were my influences that got me to where I play the way I do today? I don't play very well. You don't have. I don't do. My fingers aren't nimble enough to do really intricate finger picking anymore.
Well,
So
yeah,
I do
but-
real simple stuff, and what I have discovered is that it's possible on a banjo. It's possible to play chords with one finger.
okay.
Because you don't strum it. You don't hit all the strings at once. You just hit one at a time. And that seems to be how the old-time music is played. So I didn't really try to do that. I've recently been trying on the banjo. I've been studying with a guy named Clifton Hicks.
Okay.
He does it all on the internet on YouTube. So I'm studying his stuff. I'm not really working with him directly.
Yeah, yeah. But
But-
even at that, even well, the way you play, the instruments you choose, but the songs that you pick, I mean, it really does have a very historic theme to it. So it's, yeah, I think in cases like you and the type of music that you do, that's more about style. Strumming is more about style, particular to that type of music.
Yeah.
But the real function of the music is, what's the message? What's it about? Who killed who and all that stuff.
Yeah, I tend, I think, to pick songs that I like, but also songs that I think I can play.
Okay.
Because I do reasonably well, but I have a very limited range in which I can do well. So songs that are in my range, I try to do. I like simple melodies and simple chord structures. I'm not a fan. I had a friend one time who wrote songs, and he wanted them to be almost indecipherable
Okay. Yeah.
as far as the chord structure. And I didn't. I want them infinitely stealable. So most of my songs are 3 or 4 chords.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
but,
themes.
but again, even at that, it gets back to the style that you've chosen to play. I mean, that's,
Well, I don't know. I
Yeah.
think it chose me as much as I chose it.
Oh, I get that.
I've gotten a good response to the songs that are in that range, and I haven't had that response to songs when I tried to stretch it a bit. The message in the songs, I like songs about people and real stuff.
Right.
Although most of the songs I write, I think, are rather trivial. They're kind of like the old LPs back in the 60s, when you'd have 2 or 3 singles and a bunch of filler.
Sure.
My catalog is a few good songs and some filler. And it's fun, but nothing spectacular, nothing really memorable.
So, we understand that you recently retired from your career as an educator. How long did you teach, and what do you miss most about it?
I taught about 25 years, counting grad school. I began missing teaching the last 2 years that I taught because we weren't
You were still
teaching
teaching.
anymore. Yeah, but we weren't allowed to teach. I was told what I could use in class, what I could not. We were given all the assignments, and every assignment had to be the same. And let me see, I can pretty much quote the dean. This is the day I decided that retirement was going to happen real soon. Every student must have an identical experience in the class.
Oh, wow.
What they wanted was standardization to the point where I could be teaching in one room and someone else down the hall teaching the same class, and we could stop in mid-sentence, switch rooms, and pick up where the other had left off.
Oh my
Ouch.
God.
That, yeah,
Ouch.
that's not teaching.
No.
No.
They wouldn't let us teach about some stuff.
Now, if I'm right, they were creating a standard that they could document against. This kid can
Yeah.
do it. This kid can't.
They are not intelligent people.
Yeah.
They do not understand that there's a difference between standard and standardization. You do
yes.
uphold standards, but standardization is exactly how to not do it.
Wow.
Wow.
That's deep. Yeah.
But
Wow.
and I understand
rough.
I ran into to one of my former colleagues about a year after I left, and it's gotten worse. They have to fill out a form for every student every day. What things did you do? The question I always like to ask them is, how many knowledges did your students acquire yesterday?
Yeah.
And they'll try to answer that. The administrators will, as though knowledge were finite.
Oh wow.
Well,
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
no, in
essentially-
answer to the question, no, I don't miss it one damn bit. I miss some of the students. In fact, I'm still in touch with a couple of them.
I said to Jan, I said, I know what the answer is going to be. It's going to be he misses the kids. You know.
I don't miss most of them. Most of them were slugs.
Okay.
My
Okay.
last semester, I had 5 good students total
Yeah.
in 5 classes.
Yeah.
All of them in
Now-
one class.
Now, where is education going to go now? I mean, we're coming out of the pandemic.
Public
We've
education will probably cease to exist in this country in my lifetime.
Wow.
That's
It will
disturbing.
become a little bit more like, I understand the European style, where you have minimal education for the masses, and then the elite get an elite education.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's
geez.
what they say.
And
you
if
can
Joe
pay for
Manchin
it.
has his way, it'll happen next year.
Well, you're describing an oligarchy, and we could go down that road too. You know. It's
Well,
just,
you're familiar with Heather Cox Richardson, I think.
Yeah.
A
What's that?
historian from Harvard. She writes what she calls a letter to the American people every day.
Uh-huh.
And that's her thing, is that the oligarchy has
Yeah.
won.
How do you think your music had influenced how you teach, and vice versa?
This goes back to the first question a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah.
I have a fundamental core belief that everybody deserves a chance. Everybody deserves a voice. The music I prefer embodies that, I think. Dylan, especially early Dylan, Townes Van Zandt, Leonard Cohen, Tom Waits. These are the people who I try to follow a little bit. Richard Thompson. I would do that in my teaching, and I got into an enormous amount of trouble for it,
Oh boy.
for letting students be who they are and trying to show them the conventions. I taught composition.
Uh-huh.
And trying to show them how to take what they think, what they believe, how to put that into a form of language that other people will be able to understand. This is why spelling and punctuation actually do matter, but not as much as the Facebook gremlins would say.
Yeah.
If you misspell a word and the word is still clear, your meaning is still clear.
What do you
So
feel
I don't
about
try,
that?
I don't worry too much about that. I don't worry about a lot of the rules of
It's about the
language.
intent and the content.
Yeah,
for you.
it's like the rule that says you can't end a sentence with a preposition.
Oh,
Of
that's-
course you
Well,
can.
I saw something the other day. Can you begin a sentence with a preposition or with a conjunction? But or and?
And your point is what?
I don't
I
know.
just
I just
did.
saw it the other day.
No,
They
I
said,
just
why
did
not?
that.
Just did it.
I do it all the
That's
time.
right. You just did it. Thank you.
It turns out that many of those you can't split an infinitive
Oh, okay.
unless you're Gene Roddenberry to boldly go.
Too bold and
But
go.
most of those rules apply not to English but to Latin.
Wow.
Latin was God's language. Everybody knows that God wrote the Bible in Latin.
Yeah.
And so anything you can't do in Latin, then you can't do in English. And infinitives cannot be split. I mean, it's not a doable thing in Latin.
Well, it's funny you say that. They made me take Latin, of course, Catholic school, in high school. So and
Another
every once in a
recovering
while,
Catholic.
something that
So
I
many
learned
people I
creeps
know
into.
are recovering Catholics.
Yeah. Anyhow, where are we?
So yeah, the music that I like does reflect the way I would teach, the way I taught reflects the music that I like. The song lyrics that I chose to use in class, I didn't use a lot of them, but you have to have models of writing, and there are things for students to understand how it works. And I would choose a Bruce Springsteen song or a Townes Van Zandt song.
It's
I
your
didn't-
job to connect.
Yeah, I did not do Leonard Cohen because he's probably deeper than a marginally literate college freshman.
And they may
who'd
have been
rather be playing
depressed enough.
basketball. But
Yes. So, maybe you should play something for us.
all right, this is a song that it's not one of my usual type of things, but unfortunately, it's not an old-timey song. Well, it is, but it's still current. Well, they chased her around the playground. They teased her, pulled her hair. Every time she asked for help, no one seemed to care. So she grew up and moved away, married an average young man. But her sweet life soon unraveled in ways she could not understand. But first he started drinking, throwing dishes at the wall. His anger really frightened her, but there's no one she could call. He pushed her and he shoved her, said it was his right as a man, of course. Punch, a kick, a broken arm, kept on getting worse. So the cops were called, reports were taken, with all the usual noise. In the end, no charges were filed. Boys, after all, will be boys. So she packed up her clothes, she got in her car, drove off in the morning's first light. She thought it was over, she thought she was safe, till he kicked in her door one night. He said, "You're coming back to me." She said no, and shook her head. So he pulled out a pistol. Moments later, she lay dead. Yeah, the cops were called, reports were taken, and all the usual noise. Then no charges were filed. Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys.
Yeah,
Wow.
very nice. Oh,
Powerful.
You've heard that song before. I've played it.
Yeah.
I think I played it in the before times even at Malilani, and I know I played it since we returned, or since the
It's
live.
always powerful.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So who do you feel your musical influencers are? I think you might have talked about it briefly, but
Yeah. Dylan, certainly. Leonard Cohen. I don't write like Leonard Cohen. I wish I could. I still try to do it occasionally. Towns Van Zandt. My guitar picking style comes from two sources. One you've heard of, one you haven't. Mississippi John Hurt.
I
And
hear
a
that.
fellow named Chris Mitchell, who was
No.
an old friend of mine. I knew him, I met him in 1968. We traveled together a bit, had a falling out and got back together later on. And I ended up living across the street from him in Iowa for a year.
Oh, wow.
He was probably the finest finger picker I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He refused to teach me anything. He was kind of a butt. But I watched him and would occasionally ask him about, how did you do that? And he'd show me one or two things. But I think I picked up a lot of my influence from him. He's gone. He died of lung cancer a few years back.
Sorry.
But yeah. Yeah, Chris
All right,
was a
so-
major influence.
What's
He
that?
has a song. In fact, I really want to learn one of his songs about Raisin Bran. I kept telling him he needed
okay.
to send it off to Kellogg's and make a fortune. It'd be a perfect commercial.
Oh, God.
But he never
Okay.
did.
Well.
Yeah, Chris Mitchell. Good heavens. Anyhow, yeah, those are my primary influences. Clifton Hicks has shown me a lot of stuff on the banjo. Helped me to refine my style a little bit. I'm still not real clean on it, but I'm a lot cleaner than I used to
Well, you
be.
get the job done. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, the
he,
other thing about you and I and influences, we've both been influenced significantly by the Philadelphia Area Songwriters Alliance, PASA.
Yeah,
And
My
we often
lifeline.
talk about the highlights of the Cover Me party. What a fantastic event!
Yes, they
And I
are.
know that you're always there, and we make it a point to always be there.
yeah. I missed a couple when I lived in West Virginia. The weather was just so bad.
Right.
I couldn't get there one year, and I just decided not to do it because it'd take me 8 or 10 hours, not 5, and I'd be in a pretty miserable mood. And I don't inflict myself on people when I'm in that mood.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe that won't be an issue in the future because going to an open mic or an event like that is just a matter of taking out your phone. I mean, we're just about there.
Well, we'll see.
I prefer the live events. I'm really glad
Oh,
you
of
guys
course,
opened up
yeah.
Malalani again.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a hemorrhoid of the second order to get there. It depends on the traffic. It takes anywhere from 35 minutes to an hour and a half, depending.
Oh, wow. Well, thank
Traffic.
you. Really?
Yes, thank you for
appreciate
for
that.
putting the
Yeah.
effort in.
And
Yeah.
I keep forgetting that my car has a CD player in it.
How about that?
And I
Yeah.
keep forgetting to bring a CD to play, but anyhow.
Oh, that's a problem.
Yeah, you were asking about the Cover Me party.
Right.
And I don't remember. I've gone through, in fact, a couple of times trying to remember whose songs I covered. I have a binder with all the with the lead sheets for most of them. There, a lot of them are scattered around other binders, but I'm slowly picking them up. But the ones that come to mind most strongly are 2 or 3 years ago. Dave Phoebe had a song. Oh, what? I don't remember the name of the song. It had a line in it. Things will get better, but I don't know when.
Yeah.
And I thought, I have to cover that song. And so
Oh,
I
boy.
applied the banjo to it. It suits it real well. His stuff suits the banjo quite well.
Is that not a commentary on what everybody's going through right now?
No, this was long before the...
I understand, but it sounds like everybody's uncertain and
Yeah.
and and it's really everyone's glad to be out, but they don't know under what
Since
circumstances.
between 1929 and right now, with a small patch during the war and a small patch in the 50s, almost everybody has been living in a time of complete uncertainty.
Well, yeah.
The nature of the uncertainty is different from time to time, but Dave's another one who writes songs that sound like they were written in the 30s. And then I think the most recent live when Dolores May, or maybe it was even the Zoom one, Dolores Magro has a song called We're All Just Walking Each Other Back Home.
Wow.
That's a Baba Ramdas line that she took and made a song out of. And I did that. And then the Heidi Fest, you were at Heidi Fest.
Oh yeah, it was a wonderful, wonderful event.
Probably my favorite Possum moment, not just the whole event, but as far as my performance. Instead of singing, I recited her rants in my head, or the noise in my head. It's about 4 pages. I found the script. I studied that more than I've studied anything I've ever performed.
Yeah.
Because I had to get every single line exactly right so the next line would fall out of it properly.
Yeah.
And so it's covered with my notations. I should show it to Heidi sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting that when our audience is fellow musicians who we love and all, we have this need to be as perfect as possible. You know?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and you're handling someone else's baby if you're covering them. You know, you want to do it justice.
Well, it's not just that. I think I want to. I am in awe of the quality of musicianship in Pasa especially. Open mics are hit and miss. Some people are really
Yeah.
good, and some people never will be.
Okay.
But at Pasa, the quality of the songs, the quality of the performance is so high. I have to try to come as close as I can to that standard.
And there's a certain pressure there. I appreciate that, and it's a good thing for me. You know.
Yeah, and I know that no one will think less of me if they won't walk out on me if I sing out of key.
Right.
Yeah, I noticed somebody in the past week or so I watched somebody play a song. Didn't know the song, but he put the wrong chord in or put a chord in the wrong place in the chorus. It was real apparent because I was watching. I was trying to see how a song works. Oh, that was interesting.
Yeah.
But we call it improvisation.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
right.
We can get away with that.
Yes,
Sure.
absolutely. I meant to do that.
Exactly. I
So
know.
what's next for you, Richard?
What's next for me musically? There are 3 times on my weekly calendar. There's Wednesday at 5 when I sign up for Malalani.
Yay,
There's
thank you.
Thursday night when I go to Malalani. And then there's Sunday afternoon. Dolores has a song circle. Now, I played with the Bucks County Folk Song Society last night, Sunday night.
Yeah.
I used to be a member when I lived in Hatfield, but I ran into an old friend from there at the Molly Tuttle show, and he gave me the Zoom link, so I played there. I played the song you just heard, Boys Will Be Boys, and somebody said that I should record that song so she could share it, and I thought that was a nice thing to say.
Yeah.
In fact, I had a tentative plan to start doing some recording
Good.
in April of 2020.
Oh.
Well, you know what? I will.
That's right around the time the pandemic hit, so that took care of that.
Yeah.
It was March 13th was the first day. Friday the 13th. That's the
Yeah.
lockdown day.
Well, I tell you what. There's one real easy way to record. Just go on Zoom, record it, and have them send you a copy of it, and then you got something in the can, you know, and then you go on from there. So,
I could just
Anyways,
record it.
because-
I could even just record it on the computer.
yeah, well, that's true too. Things that we probably wouldn't have done before, you know, but we're different now,
Yeah.
you know. So,
But I'd like to have some decent engineering on it. I don't expect it to go platinum or anything. Just
Yeah.
essentially just a like a demo.
Uh-huh.
But so the songs outlive me.
So why don't you play another song for us?
I'll play one that's a little more lighthearted. This is the first song I actually wrote on a banjo. Trouble, trouble, all around me. Trouble, trouble, all I see. Trouble, trouble, all around me. I wonder what will become of me. My waterbed broke, it rotted the floor. Waterbed broke, rotted the floor. My waterbed broke, it rotted the floor. Now my landlord says I can't live here no more. Trouble, trouble all around me. Trouble, trouble is all I can see. Trouble, trouble is all I know. Wonder what will become of me. Oh, I got a flat tire on the interstate. Got a flat tire on the interstate. I got a flat tire on the interstate. Got fired from my job for coming in late. Trouble, trouble, all I see. Trouble, trouble is all I can see. Trouble, trouble, all I see. Wonder what will become of me. My baby asked me to write her a song. My baby asked me to write her a song. My baby asked me to write her a song. Oh, but she didn't like it. Now she is gone. Trouble, trouble, all I see. Trouble, trouble is all I see. Trouble, trouble is all I see. And I wonder what will become of me.
Wonderful. If there's anything that you represent, it's trouble.
Yeah, there's about 7 other verses to that song, but I can never remember.
That's a lot of trouble.
Well, I keep finding the only ones I keep always are the first and the last one.
I see. That's interesting.
So, if people wanted to get your music, you said you were in the process of starting a recording. Can people hear your music? Do you have a website?
I do not have a website. Okay. There are a few clips on the Pasa Songwriters channel, and I guess some of the stuff that gets recorded wanders around YouTube somewhere. I've only found one.
Yeah.
From a house concert at Heidi's, 10 or 12 years ago. And I was playing a song that I thought was nasty, and everybody's laughing, thinking it's funny, and I couldn't figure it out.
Well, thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, guys.
And we'll see you Thursday.
I will see you Thursday. Happy trails.
All right.
In closing, we want to call attention to those dedicated individuals who have chosen to spend their lives buying school supplies, feeding children, keeping them safe, and educating them.
The future of the planet depends on our ability to educate the next generation. Here's to the people who accept that task.
And here's a little song about that person.
It's called All Her Little Kids. She meets them in the morning and she helps them start their day. She redirects the little ones who sometimes lose their way. She smiles at all the parents
as she reassures their trust. She helps her little charges learn the things they must. She takes them to the classroom as they file down the hall. She helps them keep in order as they huddle near the wall. She helps them strip the coats and gloves and things that they must rid. She begins the conversation with her little kids. She tells the stories she has read so many times before. She sees the look of wonder as she reopens every door. She introduces people's past and all the things they did. She gives her time and work and heart to her little kids. She teaches them of kindness and about the golden rule. She helps them use their little hands to handle daily tools. She does not stand for monkey business when one acts like the fool. She wipes the tears, calms the fears. She's so cool. She starts them off upon the path that each of them must find. She teaches them to think and grow as she expands their minds. She holds a little sadness with her final goodbye bids. She still loves each and every one of her little kids. Of her little kids, of her little kids.